there are lots of people out there who are beautiful, wonderful, sensitive souls, and you're very used to putting other people first, helping other people, naturally empathetic and there for other people, and then there can be the tendency to let your own life slip away. I share with you in this video techniques from screenwriting to help make you the main character of your life story. We're going to be focusing over the next year. We're going to need some paper, pen, whatever you want, writing utensil. If you prefer to do it digitally, do it like that way, or maybe you want to work with both. Also, you can, as I'm going to share with you, use something like a corkboard along with some flashcards or post-it notes. I use these different flashcards here. If you don't have them, don't let that stop you. You can just use paper, cut it up into smaller pieces, and then we're going to mark out your year and what's important to you, and I'm excited to share this with you. I'm going to get the corkboard. I'm making this in December with the intent to focus on the next solar year from January onwards. You can, of course, start your year at any time, and if ever you're feeling like you want to bring yourself back into the center of your own story because this is your life, you can use this technique then. Many cultures, as we know, start the year at different times, and we have 4 seasons, and we're going to be looking at those 4 seasons and the 3 months within that season within this technique. So around this time last year, I was taking Mindy Kaling's masterclass on writing episodics TV. I had an idea in my mind that I wanted to write a TV show, and then within that, I realized I could just be doing this for my own life as well. Now, if you've seen other videos that I've made, you know that I have found that writing's really helped me work with my unconscious, my subconscious, working with things that may be within me to let out and also transform and transmute them. And writing can be a really powerful tool for creating our life as if it were a story. Now, we know in fiction there are many ups and downs, and in life there can be that too. I like to go with the intention of going for the healthiest version because that's a value of mine. I enjoy living a peaceful life, and that's what we're going to be focusing on, realizing that we are co-creating with life. Life is informing what happens as well, and we work within that. I worked and trained as a jobbing actor for years, and then I realized I wanted to start making my own stories and sharing those. So I made a couple of theatre versions and then some short films. Within that, when you're making a film, you give a blueprint to the crew that you're working with, so everyone can be on the same page. We all know what we're working with. And within life, I feel like this technique that I'm going to be sharing with you, that's what we're doing with life. We're letting life know our ideas, and then we're working in response to life. I also feel that like life is giving us inspiration, so it's a two-way dialogue. I'm going to share with you 12 areas of life to reflect on, and then I'm going to invite you to choose 1 to 3 areas that you personally would really like to focus on over the next year. I did this, as I said, this time last year. One of the main things that came for me that was so important to me was moving home and finding a home that I felt really comfortable in. And that has happened right now. And I'm making this video from my new home that I've been living in for about 3 or 4 months now. And there were some ups and downs within getting to that point, but it did happen where I really felt the most at home that I ever have done in my adult life. So that's why I'm going to share this with you. And I really believe it's powerful. There are some other things that I put on there that have completed, not necessarily completely with the outcome. And there are some other things where I saw major movement towards, but again, not fully come to fruition. And I think that is within working with these tools, manifestation, law of attraction, working with energy, which I fully believe in. And also I do really believe in working with it in a very grounded, realistic way, and working within what's truly within us and making sure that whatever we're working within, it's within the realms of what is true to us and the best thing for us right now, rather than what we're hearing from society. We're just working with this in a very grounded way and a practical way, and by writing it out, creating a plan for ourselves, we can do that. If something is not fully coming to fruition, it doesn't mean it can't do yet. Again, it just means that some more attention can go there, some more skills can be brought in, some more development. And sometimes if it's really not working out, then maybe it's just something that's not meant to happen and it was something that came from elsewhere. the idea. So first of all, let's look at the 12 areas of life that we could be looking to work within. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves in this year. Plenty of areas to look at. So as I say these, you can just note them down and you can just think to yourself, is there something I want to work on or not for now? And I do feel like if you work on 1 to 3, if you put major movement within that area, it's usually going to have a beneficial effect on another area as well anyway. So for example, if you were to work on yourself, then naturally your relationships are going to improve. Or if you want to work on your career, your money area will naturally improve as well. But really putting the focus on 1 to 3 areas. The first area we could look at is ourselves, our sense of self, also the body, health, vitality, how we feel within the world, and our identity within the world. And again, as I say, working with health and fitness as well comes into that. The second area is our values, what we value in this world, and also the way that we make money. I'm going to come back to money twice within this. There's an axis that they're working on. The way that I'm going to look at it is the way that we might physically do some work to get money. So values is in terms of our morals, ethics, the way that we like to approach the world, and also the value of money. The third one, we're just shaking a little bit, but we're good. The third one in community, and within community, that's also including neighbors, siblings, cousins, relationships with them, and also short distance travel. So if there's anywhere that you like to travel with within your own country, there's that. Okay, fourth is home and family, and also how you feel at home within yourself. The fifth one is creativity, fun, romance. The sixth one is our daily routine, any daily routine you might bring in. Also acts of service, where we can serve the greater good, and our daily work as well. That can be a place if you want to look into your work. Within this, also pets and small animals is included. Everything I'm sharing, these 12 areas, we're halfway through now. I have learned it from astrology as a framework. It's ancient. I'm just sharing the 12 areas that astrology maps out so that we can use it as a framework. The seventh is then one-on-one relationships, and that can be romantic relationships, one-on-one friends, business partners, one-on-one relationships in our lives. The eighth one, and we're now going to come back to money. So before, when I talked about money, I talked about like actions you can take to make money. Eighth house is more investments, passive income, accounts, tax also gets taken into this. Other people's money. Eighth area also brings in psychology, the esoteric. So things like astrology, for example, and also psychology. If psychology is some place, your own psychology you wanted to focus on, or learning more about psychology generally to help other people, that also might be an area you want to focus on. Okay, the ninth house, we call it house in astrology, but like the ninth area, the ninth is the broader view of life, your outlook. Religion does come into here, so if that's something that's important for you, it could be, but also like philosophy, your outlook on life, and also long distance travel. So if there's somewhere you want to travel really far, then you could do that. Like for me, I had wanted to go to Australia for so long. My longest standing friend lives there. We've been friends since school and she lives there. And I went this year and it was something that I had like kind of intended last year. And then I went and I had an amazing time. I went for my birthday and it was great. 10th area is career and also your public standing in life. Marriage can also come into here. So we looked at that in the 7th area of one-on-one relationships. But like if marriage is something that's important to you this year, the 10th area could be them. But also like, career and who you are in the public sphere within, your own world. 11th is networks and friends. So if that's an area you want to work on, strengthen attention towards, 11th area. And then 12th area, this is like a spiritual area. It's working with the dreams, the unconscious, the connection with the divine. So if expanding your spirituality, bringing it more into your life is important to you this year, then maybe the 12th area. Now, let's take some time We can go over those 12 areas, choose 1 to 3, whatever. We don't need to spend ages thinking about this, just whatever your instinct is. Remember, everything's always adaptable. We're always working with it. Do your own thing, find out what's important to you, choose 1 to 3, write it down right now. I want us to look at how we could be working with this in terms of a story, in terms of a structure. We're going to have Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. We use different structures in storytelling, but this is one that I like, and it's one we're all familiar with. We learned this as kids. What makes a good story? Beginning, middle, and end. And we can work with this holistically over the year. So we start with the beginning of the year, then we get into the middle, and then we'll have the end of the year. Well, we're coming to around this time next year. Then within it, we can break it down. There are 4 seasons. Within each season, there are 3 months. Month 1, month 2, month 3. I think like working with 3s at one time is very helpful. So let's think of the overall story of what happens to this character. Who is you? That is the person who you can take 100% responsibility for. We're not more important. We're not less important than anyone else in our lives. They're equally important. But the person we really can work with is ourselves, that character. And we're going to look at what happens to them over the course of the year. And then you can break it down and look over what happens over the course of a season, 3 months. And then you can even look over what happens over the course of a month. So we're going to define the beginning and the end point first. We're going to write it out, first of all, as a log line. So any movie has a log line. It's like 1 or 2 sentences explaining who that character is now, what happens, and some intrigue as to what would happen in their story. Okay, so here is a logline from a Netflix show that I like, Breakable Kimmy Schmidt. A woman is rescued from a doomsday cult and starts life over again in New York City. So it's just a sentence. Exactly where she is, what happens to her, and then what she goes on. We don't know the whole story. You write it out. Now, when you do your own logline, you might really have like a definite end point. Remember that you're doing this for you. We really want to know who the character is or where they are right now. I know that's like perhaps quite an extreme example. If you haven't seen the show, I mean, I personally really like it. And I think that's also like a really helpful thing to do is know what movies you like and why you're interested in them, and what like the characters, what they go through, what transformations they go through, and then bring it back to yourself. I have a video where I go through 9 different ways where we can get to know ourselves better. And one of them I suggest is if you do choose to interact with fiction, realize why you're interacting with it and know why it's important to you. And this is the same thing with you're constantly getting curious about our own lives. And I say this because I know there are lots of people out there who are beautiful, wonderful, sensitive souls, and you're very used to putting other people first, helping other people, naturally empathetic and there for other people, and then there can be the tendency to let your own life slip away. I know that I lived like that for many years, and then I wasn't very happy. And I realized one of the biggest things I needed to do was go back and focus on what was true to me, what I wanted to do. And then the more that I do that, the more that I'm able to have a healthier interaction with life and other people. Let's write your logline. Okay, now you've got your logline. Let's write a synopsis. Now you could write a 1-paragraph synopsis, or you could write a 1-page synopsis. Again, usually this would be used to show to a producer why they should make your movie, why they should make your film, your TV show, your streaming show. And this is for you to get clear and to communicate to life what can happen in your own life. So I want us to be flexible in this. We're not pitching to Netflix to do this. We're just having this for ourselves. So whatever you feel is comfortable for you to do. Again, don't have any barriers with this. Like either write a paragraph or a page, or if you end up writing longer than that, like write longer than that, whatever it is. But write out how you see your life going over the next year. And again, we're writing it for your life. It doesn't have to be fiction. It doesn't have to have all the twists and turns. I personally would choose to write it with positivity and it going in a good way and a happy way. So writing it with a paragraph or a synopsis, writing about you, who you are, where you are, and what happens in your life over the next year. So use your name, where you are, and what happens. Now, you could include ways in which it happens. If we're working more in an energetic way, I think it's always helpful to stay open to the possibilities. Like with that log line, we don't get all the ins and outs of it. Again, with life, we're co-creating with life. So we don't have to necessarily know how it's going to happen, just what happens. And you can also bring other people into that as well. If there are other key players in your life, you can also bring that in, or people you'd like to meet as well, keeping it again open.
If you do include other people, do remember that we only have responsibility and direction over our own lives. We can't create for other people. And to keep the focus on yourself, make yourself the priority. I'd also include in your synopsis the way you would like to feel over the next year. Really focus on the way you'd like to feel.
Either write one paragraph synopsis now or write a page synopsis. So now you have your logline and your synopsis for what's going to happen over the year. Now remember, we're making you the main character of your life story. And when someone is making a show or a film, they're very aware of all their characters, but in particular the protagonist, you, the central character. So we need to get clear on who you are and the person you need to continue to be and expand to be in order to live the life that you have written for yourself. So let's work on character traits and who you are. Let's work on who you are right now and remembering that you are a beautiful soul. You already are enough. Everything about you is great. And also being aware that whatever it is that we're looking to create in our lives, whether say that would be like a relationship that we want to bring into our lives, there probably is, if it's not already there, there probably are some areas in which we could expand and grow. There are things that we could learn to do. So we can really now look at the character traits of that person. Okay, I want you to start just by writing your name and writing a description of yourself. Choose 3 qualities that you have within yourself that you love about yourself right now. Like write those 3 qualities. And then look at the log line and the story that you've written for yourself and identify any areas in which you could expand in. So maybe it might be learning to be more consistent or learning to be more confident, whatever it is. And you can then choose those ways. And then I just want you to think of some ways in which you could do that. So like, where could you go to learn? Where could you get some resources to do that? Just go and look at what is available to you. The resource I really like is called Skillshare. It's a creative platform and there are loads of classes on it that like walk you through step by step in quite a short, concise way. There's something, an end goal, and then they help you go through it. And it's in so many different topics. I have a month free because I have some classes on Skillshare myself. I have a month free link that will be in the description. If you want to try that out for a month, then you just go to that link and you can try out all the classes there. Okay, so we have our logline, we have a synopsis, we have our main character. I know who they are, the qualities they have, the qualities they are going to be developing over the next year to fulfill the story that they've written for themselves. Now we can go to the corkboard and do some story beats. Now remember, if you do not have a corkboard, do not fret. I got this one from Amazon. Like, you don't need it necessarily. I find it quite fun to have it. But you might have your creative person. Just do it however you want to do it. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Month. Well, this could be like the overall arching of the year. And then we can go into seasons and do month 1, month 2, month 3. And then within the month, you can do like beginning of the month, middle of the month, end of the month. But let's start with your overall year. And let's just use an example. And then you can do it in whichever way works for you with what you're working with, in whichever area that you're working with in life. Now we're thinking of our character and specific actions they can take in order to fulfill this life that they're going to live over the next year. So say we have someone who wants to become more integrated into their community, get into the community more. Remember, we're writing this for ourselves and knowing that adventure just naturally happens within life. As I was saying before, we go with like the healthiest, positive, like nurturing, loving life that I can write for myself. But something we can do is start by writing where we are right now. And remembering, again, like we did with the character traits, you're a beautiful soul. There is no shame coming into this. Wherever you are right now, we're okay. We accept that. And we also know there are more adventures we can have. So we can be honest with this as wherever they are right now. So like, let's take an example of someone who's just moved. I just moved house and I'd like to get more into the community, for example. Samantha has arrived in her new home. She knows some people, but we like to expand her network. So then we have like the first story. So we have the first plot point of where she is right now. Then she has an idea. I like dance, so something I could do to meet other people who have shared interests. She goes along to dance school. She goes on to a dance class. And then at the end of it all, she feels integrated, part of a community where she lives. So you can go into more detail than that. You can do more plot points, whatever it is, however you want to have, whatever creative ideas are coming to you. This is a way, so like we've got the beginning, she arrives, Samantha arrives in a new home, she knows some people, but would like to expand her network. She goes along to a dance class, and then by the end of the year, she feels integrated in her community. Notice how I went with how she feels. I think that's a really important, rather than again, like focusing on exactly how it happens or where it happens, it's that she ends up fulfilling that feeling of feeling integrated into the community. And then we can break that down into the next season or the next month even. So then I would be looking to say if the action point. So I know that the action point is because I enjoy dance. I know that's a way where I could do something where it's part of my community, where I'm likely to meet other people. Then I can write myself a bullet point of looking for dance classes, going to a taster class, trying it out, maybe trying out some other dance classes, going along to those. Find action points that you can take. And this is where we take it away from the kind of like esoteric energy place and we make it more concrete, really small steps, actionable steps that are within our control to make them happen. And I really do think it is within those tangible, concrete steps that we take, then we allow the adventure to unfold. Then throughout the year, you can refer back to your beat points. You might make yourself a folder or however you want to do it. I haven't done that personally, but like what I did keep for myself was a synopsis. For a long time, I carried it around with me. I'd read it over it. You can also use other techniques that we know of, vision boards. You know that visually seeing this and putting yourself into the place can help, or making a movie, something that I've done before on Canva as an example of software. That's one I've used, where you can take videos and then write text over the top. Make it short, like make it something that you could watch like once a day and then just like watch it like 2 minutes a day, 1 minute a day. And then the more that you see it, the more that it becomes a reality to you. Whilst also noticing like the beauty that we already have within us already and within life. But I do think it does help to get clear on what's important to us and where we would like to focus attention towards, and that way that we are always living the life that we choose to live and we're not living by other people's rules. Live by your own rules. I want to keep this conversation positive and inspiring. As I said, I'm going to be real. You may have experienced this before. I personally have experienced this before and I've heard other people talk about it. And when you do set intentions and you are looking for a transformation to happen within your life, a change within a positive direction, sometimes things can come up which are more uncomfortable and more difficult to sit with and can be more challenging. It's happened to me a few times and it's about being able to go through those. So that's why it's really important that we worked on those character traits. We know that we'll have those character traits to weather the storm, be within it, and know that that can happen. It happens in the hero's journey and stories. We see it quite often happen, don't we? Where a character starts in this place and then there's an inciting incident that makes them realize that they're ready to have a change, and then they start building towards it, and then some drama involves, some conflict, and then they overcome that conflict, and it's through overcoming that conflict and going through that difficulty. Not that I want difficulty for you at all, like I would love it if you didn't have to go through that, but I'm just also being aware and being real that sometimes these things can happen, but they also then give us strength so that we can overcome it, we become more resilient, and then we can really step into that endpoint that we're looking for. I will say with the housing situation for me over the past year, it was so important to me. I started off like this time last year. I was living in a house share and I really wasn't enjoying it. I had times when I had lived on my own before. I'd never, like, moving around a lot. It's been quite a big part of my life, and it's been something where more recently I've really want to like have some roots and settle down and feel more comfortable within myself, within my home, and within the place I want to be. Somehow I'd found myself living in house share and didn't enjoy it at all. And I was living in a different city at the time as well. And then came to the end of that and I was like, right, I'm going to find someone new at the end of my tenancy. And I just was struggling so much to find somewhere. Like I just could not find somewhere. The only place I could find was far away from where I had been living, but within the same city, to be like opposite a road I lived on when I was a kid, and like at a time where there was a lot of struggle, and the property that I moved into just like was not good for anyone to live in, and it really impacted me, and it showed me how important environment is. Like you can do all of the things. I can be like meditating and working and doing all of the things that we're told to do to keep healthy, eating well, everything, exercising, and the environment can have such a big impact. So it made me realize that. And also it gave me an opportunity, like the good that I saw in it, it gave me an opportunity to reintegrate that part of like my early teenage years where I felt were really difficult. I was able to like live back in that situation again, and I just had a different perspective, and I actually realized when I was walking down the streets in my head for so long, I'd kept it as like a really like harrowing time. But I had so many happy memories that were coming back, and I was near the high school I'd gone to and everything, and I had so many like, I realized actually there were so many great things that came out of that time. Then it also made me realize that I do get a choice as to where I live. And a massive dream of mine had to be to live by the sea for many years. And I found myself like talking to people, and like if I came across someone who was like, oh, I'm living by the sea or I live by the sea, oh my gosh, it's always been my dream. And I was like, why don't you just make your dream a reality? So I decided to go and view some places out of curiosity. And then like very quickly it all worked out in such a smooth way, as whereas like when I was in like my middle act 2, it wasn't working out. But it showed me when I went with what was true in my soul, it flowed easily. And that's where I think if we always keep to what the truth that is within our soul, we are more likely to live the story that is fulfilling to us. So whichever point of the year you are doing this at, I wish you a beautiful year ahead.